Ready? Afternoon. The time is now 3:34 p.m. and we are back from our brief recess. We will now transition to examine the last nomination this committee will be entertaining today. We will vet the nomination of Mr. Dwayne L. Maritita to serve as a member of the Board of Directors for the Marianas Visitors Bureau, representing the municipality of Rhoda. If the Senate pleases, Mr. Dwayne Maritita will be filling the unexpired term of Ms. Agueda T. Kitagwa, which will expire on March 23, 2026. Mr. Maritita was originally nominated on May 1st, 2024, and his nomination was withdrawn on July 19, 2024, due to time limitations. He was renominated on July 26, 2024. At this time, I would like to invite the Special Assistant for Administration, Mr. Oscar Babauta, and the nominee to please join us. I want to thank Mr. Maritita and Mr. Babauta for making the time to attend this hearing today, and also for Mr. Maritita's desire to represent the First Senatorial District on the MBA Board of Directors. We are here today to fulfill our mandate to examine his qualifications.
Who hail from the island of Rota. That the committee have given opportunity to the Rota residents to be part of this hearing. For that, thank you very much. For that being said, on behalf of the Honorable Governor Arnold I. Pelosi and Lieutenant Governor David M. Apateng, Madam Chair and members, I thank you for the opportunity once again to appear before you today, the last one of our nominees appearing today. I'm pleased to introduce Mr. Dwayne A. Maritita, the Governor and Lieutenant Governor's nominee for the Marianas Visitors Authority Board of Directors. With his impressive qualifications, dedications, and passion for serving the Commonwealth, Mr. Maritita is an ideal candidate for this role. We believe that Mr. Maritita possesses the skills, expertise necessary to make a significant impact in his position. His desire to create a better future for the Marianas is truly inspiring, and we're confident that he will carry out his responsibilities with utmost professionalism. Therefore, the administration kindly asks for your prompt approval of Mr. Maritita's nomination, Madam Chair and members of your esteemed committee. Thank you, Mrs. Masi Giliso, for the opportunity, and wish Mr. Martita good luck on your hearing today. And I'm sure some of our Rotanist individuals will be coming forward to speak on behalf of our nominee. Thank you so much and good afternoon, and hopefully to see you soon back home. Thank you.
Mrs. Mosse, Senor Babauta. I will now open the floor for public comments. Mr. Kitugwa, you may join us, the nominee on the table.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and members. Coming over here to represent Mr. Dwayne Maratita here for the Marianas Visitors Authority. I'm very proud to see him to accept the governor's nomination, Governor Arnold Palacios and Lieutenant Governor David M. Apatan. And I can see that with his knowledge and background in terms of his beautification, not because of to beautify the island, but in terms of making sure that the island is safe and its environment is welcoming to our visitors. I knew in mind that we need an able body to work with the Marianas Visitor Authority to go along with this. We to like handicraft to visitors, and I am pleased that he accepted the nomination from the governor and the lieutenant governor. Having that said in mind, I knew that with his sensitivity of our environment and mostly the tourists, I understand that we have been having problem with our tourists coming in to our island because of the airline situation, but that's beyond our control. But yet, we need to beautify our island. And I'm also most thankful to the to the mayor's office, because in line of that, Mayor Hokuk is so keen enough to work out on pristine environment here on the island. And yet, Mr. Maratita here, I knew he can do the job, and he's sensitive of the visiting or the visitor or Marianas Visitor Authority. And with that, I'm pleased to welcome him that he accepted the nomination of the governor. I knew that he has so many in his mind, has been trained in community and cultural affair, and been working community-wide, and is well known about our tourism. It's not an easy work, and you have to entice a lot of visitors. And I understood that where we are now, of our airline situation, sometimes we cannot help it, but we need sometimes to promote our island, not only Rota, but the entire cinema. And I'm also pleased about the ongoing uh, situation that we're proud to showcase our island. And of course, it's really heartening to us, because sometimes we really wanted to help this under community effort, but sometimes due to shortness or shortfall of funds, and we cannot do that at the most, and our own concentration. And Mr. Maratita here, uh, being also is my nephew, understood the situation about Marianas Visitor Authority. And I hope that, and I wish him a lot to carry on this broad responsibility. We're seeing that the authority here is really working so hard to beautify our island. Like I said, not only to beautify, but to promote the wellness of our environment as well as the people and visitors to our island. And uh, at the most and the least, I would say welcome, Joey, and wish you the best of luck. Thank you, Madam Chair and members of this hearing committee.
Jesús Mase, Señor Kituka. The floor is still open for public comments.
Half a day, Honorable Chairwoman and Senators, Manglonia, Senator Paul Manglonia, Senator Donald. And I apologize, I didn't catch if Senator Hofschneider is here joining virtually as well?
Yes, he is.
Okay.
He's virtually
For
present.
the record, my name is Aubrey Holcook, Mayor for the Municipality of Rhoda. Again, I did submit a letter in support of Mr. Maritita, but I did also want to just come and personally express my support for his confirmation by Honorable Governor Palacios, Lieutenant Governor Apting. And I just wanted to share, I worked with Mr. Martita for the past 8 years when he served throughout various capacities, when he served working for the former Mayor Ephraim Atalik as a resident department head, and now as a grant writer with OGM. And I know that he has the full capability and ability to help serve as the board member for Marianas Visitors Authority, stimulate our local economy here and tackle any issues that come our way with the support of the Rhoda leadership and our executive branch. And so with that, I humbly ask for your continued support to expedite his confirmation so that we can really truly continue our march forward to help. With that, I just wanted to also, if I may, just, I wasn't able to join in earlier this morning, but if I could just be on the record to show or express my support for Mr. Tom Manglonia as well to serve as the, if I can, and then for the, yes. And then I want to thank all the previous members who have served, Mr. Martin Mendiola, Mrs. Lonnie Manglonia, and Ms. Aggie Kiruba Manglonia, respectively. So thank you so much.
Jesús Mase, Señora Mayor Holcook. The floor is still open for public comments. Okay.
Si Glenn Lizama Maritita. I'm here on my personal capacity, Madam Chair. Well, again, welcome to Rhoda, and of course, Senator Paul and Senator Donald Manglonia. I appeared before you in support of the nominee, si Dwayne Lizama Maritita. As many of you guys know, Dwayne is my brother. Last week he came to the house and he was asking me, begging me actually, if I can render or provide testimony in support of his nomination. And I was like, okay, go ahead and send me your resume. But I decided not to because I know I'll end up with at least 80 pages. I know Dwayne since he was young. Anyhow, Madam Chair, before I begin, just like the mayor pointed it out, I also malago by soliciting opportunities by tang si by now appreciation Mrs. Aggie Kirua Manglonia for serving as a member of the MVA. Now going back to Dwayne, I'm pretty sure he submitted his resume, and that in itself speaks volume. I don't want to be redundant, so I'm just going to get straight to and at the heart of the issue by asking for your indulgence, the members' indulgence and support, and to please accept his nomination that was provided by the governor to serve in this capacity. I mean, I know Dwayne, like I said, his educational background, his work experience in the private industry, and as far as the government, we serve, I served with Dwayne in a familiar capacity during the administration of former, right before him, and of course, with EP, Director EP, they have numerous projects that is actually ongoing, and for that matter, could be realized in the coming months or maybe years from now. But that is something that we keep the ball, or at least them keeping the ball rolling, that relates somehow to tourism areas. Uh, I don't know if you still have deal to offer, but that's the only thing that I can ask Madam Chair and members is that if there is space in your hearts, the confidence is to please allow him to do so, to serve in this capacity so that, again, we keep the ball rolling as far as the benefits and the privileges that will be realized in the coming months or even years for MVA. And with that, Don Cluna Jesus Masi, and welcome home again for all of you guys. Thank you.
Jesus Masi, Senor Maritita. The floor is still open for public comments.
Good afternoon again, members. This is Chairperson, Senator Paul, Senator Donald, and Senator June still online. Thank you again for this opportunity. I'm here this afternoon in support with the nomination for the board of MVA for Mr. Dwayne Martita. I've known Mr. Martita for so long, and I have no doubt that if confirmed and given the opportunity to serve as a board member, I'm pretty sure that he's gonna really work with our colleagues and find ways, because tourism now is our main. That he knows the pressing issues that we're going through right now. He can work with the colleagues and find ways to bring back tourists. There's no other revenue that we can bring back, but tourism is one way that we can bring back our economy to more beautify and make our parks or tourist sites stay clean and for healthy for health concerns and all the stuff, tourism as well as our people here and the organic visitors. They would appreciate this clean environment that we have right now. And once again, Mr. Martita, congratulations for taking this extra step and busy schedule. And thank you, members.
Jesus Masi, Chairman Natale. The floor is still open for public comments.
I'll just make this quick. Good afternoon again. My name is Jonathan Lizama. I am here in support with Mr. Dwayne Martita. I have worked alongside with Mr. Martita in his leadership as a director for DCCA, which I am still an employee for DCCA. And when something needs to be done, he won't stop until we find a way how to get the program rolling. Again, you have a perfect candidate. Again, Mr. Governor and Lieutenant Governor, thank you for your nomination. And Rhoda is, again, lucky to have Mr. Dwayne Martita in another project and another responsibility to take on. And I'm going to be always here with you when you nominate it. And I support Mr. Martita on his for board of director for MVA. And I just want to say again, thank you to the previous members from Martin, Mindiola and Ms. Aguila and Ms. Agi and Ms. Lani Enos again for their role and their service to the community. So, Mr. Martita, I just want to say thank you and thank you for taking the role. And please expedite his confirmation so we can move along. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lozama. The floor is still open for public comments.
Buenas again, for the record, my name is Ivan Merritt. I'm a voter and registered in the 1st Senatorial 7th Precinct, Luta. I know Mr. Dwayne Martita way before he decided to go into the municipal service. Mr. Dwayne Martita was one of 3 individuals that ran our Northern Marianas College campus. Ms. Severina Atlick-Ogle was the administrator at the time. The late Francisco Norita was our upper bound coordinator. And back in 2004, I was given the opportunity to attend the upper bound program. I, along as well as former, Mayor Aubrey Holcook, we were students from the upper bound program. And then transitioning into NMC, Mr. Maritita was our student support service coordinator for Rhoda. He oversees 12 students at scholarships and grants. And Mr. Maritita went beyond the call of duty by not only getting us registered, getting us the ability to apply, but even helping those with no PO box to meet the standards of getting their mails from the federal government. That is the attitude of Dwayne Lizama Maritita. Hopefully, that is the attitude of the person that we want to put at the MVA board membership. To have a person that's compassionate and caring for the community is one thing, but to actually have a person that does it and care at the same time is magical. I knew Dwayne when he was a resident director under the Atlick administration. At that time, we worked very closely under CIP, and Dwayne is the kind of guy that during the time when they say Tisinia, he comes up with Hafamonsinia. That is the attitude I believe we should put as a board member for MVA. Given the certain situations that we have in our MVA's vast knowledge, I think there are markets that are not being tapped. We need fresh minds to go in. Dwayne is a perfect example. Like Mr. Banglonia, like Mr. Maritita Kirkjohn, and now Mr. Maritita Dwayne, all I ask is that when given the opportunity to sit as a board member for these organizations, please give them the tools, give them the resources, and let that creativity go. Again, on behalf of myself, Ivan Merritt, I again support the governor and lieutenant governor's nomination for Rhoda's representative for MVA, Mr. Dwayne Lizama Maritita.
Citizen Small City, Senor Herrera. The floor is still open for public comments. At this time, there are no further public comments, so I will close that portion of the agenda. For the record, Mr. Maritita, this committee received letters of support from Mayor Aubrey M. Hokok, Representative Julie Ogle, Mr. Bruce Camacho, a resident of Tanapak, Saipan. Additionally, the committee has not received any letters in opposition of your nomination as of this hearing date. I will recognize at this time the Vice Chair, Senator Donald Manglonia. Oh. Sorry, I forgot. It's been a long day. May I ask you to please rise and raise your right hand? And our LA will administer the oath to you.
Dwayne L. Maritita, you do solemnly swear under the penalty of perjury that the testimony you shall give in the matter at hand shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Thank you.
Thank you, and you may be seated. Now we can proceed. At this time, Senator, it's been a long, long day. Mr. Maritita, I will give you the floor an opportunity to make any opening remarks,
Thank you,
should you
Madam
wish to
Chair.
do so.
I'm sure it is a long day, like Senator. It's quite frankly, it's not that hot, no. But anyways, yeah, thank you for this opportunity. And yeah, for the record, my name is Dwayne L. Maritita. And again, good afternoon, Madam Chairwoman, Senator Selena Babauta, members of this committee, Senator Paul, this afternoon, and of course the viewing public, friends, families from our sister islands and abroad, ladies and gentlemen. It is an honor to be here before this committee to express my sincerest and genuine appreciation for making time of your busy schedule, and I'm sure because of the budget hearings that occurred previously had extended this hearing process. But however, I'm really appreciative that you guys were able to do this today. I would like also to extend my profound appreciation to the Honorable Governor Arnold I. Palacios and the Honorable Lieutenant Governor David M. Appleton for having the confidence, the trust, and the desire for me to serve as Board of Director for the Marianas Visitors Authority to represent the First Senatorial District, the island of Luta. I'd like to express my sincere thanks to Mr. Obi, Mr. Oscar about the Special Assistant for Administration. Unfortunately, he had to leave early, but I thank him for taking the time off also as well to provide an introduction on my behalf. I'm equally grateful to all the individuals, families, friends, and members of this committee or community who have expressed support for my nomination despite the delay of this process. Obviously, they all stood beside me patiently. Given the opportunity to serve, I wish to exercise all my abilities, skills, and apply my knowledge to assist in any way possible to bring a brighter future for Rhoda and the entire CNMI. It is not an easy task, but definitely worth every effort, and I believe I'm ready for this challenge. I would like to take this opportunity also to make a positive impact and join all the rest of the board members, stakeholders in unison to examine our challenges, bring together a decision that is sound and realistic, create a system that is equitably acceptable to the needs of the islands, and strengthen the relationship with stakeholders across the CNMI to revive our tourism industry. And thank you again for this opportunity, and I'll be ready for any questions that you guys may have.
Mrs. Mossy, for your opening statements, and Senator Donald, you now have the floor.
Thank you, Chair, and good afternoon to everyone present here today. Good afternoon and congratulations, Mr. Maratita, on your appointment to serve on the MBA board. I know of your journey because I've interacted with you while you served in different capacities throughout your career. During your time at NMC, I was a student at RHS at the time, and you were working with Mr. Narita at the time. To your time at TSA, having to interact with you every time we leave Rhoda, over to your time as a DCCA director and on all the work that you've done with DCCA and the support that you provide to our artisans and our people through your capacity as a resident director, and most importantly to your role now as a grant writer for OGM. I did, thank you for including me in part of your discussions with seeking support for several grant opportunities for our island. I also see the work that you're involved in with the mayor in regards to this the village signage project that is currently underway, and hopefully it'll be here soon. I know that that is being worked on today, and if the people have get the opportunity to see the work before it gets here, I mean, they'd be amazed at how much is being done there and the support that is provided by the office in which you currently serve in. But again, no one knows how critical I am of MBA as much as the acting director does, because I constantly call him whenever I see advertisements out for Rhoda events and how much is not being done to promote Rhoda events. And that's the concern I've also brought up to MBA during budget hearings and the representation or lack thereof in promoting Rhoda as a destination. But again, seeing what you've already done, I can stand behind the decision to say that, you are the right person for the job. And not to discredit the work that the former board member has done, Ms. Aguila Kirigua Manglonia, and I thank her, and I've also worked with her in various capacities, and I appreciate the work that she's done, but also providing you this opportunity now to represent Rhoda in the MBA. Some of the things I wanted to bring up, and this could come as a question to you, or you can respond to some of the comments that I'll be making. There's a lack of promotional items or advertisements on any events that are happening here in Rhoda. When GVB invited some of the legislators to join them on their trip to Haneda, when they had to start, the route started, I asked the mayor for brochure, I asked for MVA for brochures on Rhoda, but they didn't have any. I had to get it from the mayor. And so why is it that, you know, why doesn't MVA have anything of that nature, right? It's their job to go out there and go to these trade shows and disseminate information and advertise Rhoda, but it seems like the only thing that you see that they post about Rhoda is diving, or, you know, there's nothing really that encompasses the true culture and tradition of our people of Rhoda and what we're able to offer. And so I hope that if you're confirmed, Mr. Maritito, that you continue to fight for that representation and that promotion of our island, especially when it comes to them going on these trade shows. Another thing I wanted to bring up is, you know, really assess the travel and the needs of the MBA that goes out to represent our people. It's unfortunate that Rhoda Antinian does not have a marketing manager or a marketing specialist that could accompany the delegates from MBA to go on these trade shows, because they would be the professionals of what Rhoda Antinian is able to offer to our tourists. And so I hope that that can also be considered in including these positions in our budget in the next fiscal year, and so that, you know, not only do we offer opportunities for our people to be a part of this movement in trying to bring in tourists, they'll be, whenever they go off into these trips, they can stand there proudly marketing and promoting visits to Rhoda Antinian. Another thing that I always bring up with other board members is even the director himself. While I understand he has a huge task to revive the tourism industry, oftentimes he's out of the Commonwealth. And so take a look at that and ensure that, you know, these travels to these other places are more of an opportunity for the main people, the marketing people, to understand what is needed out there and how we can improve our efforts when we go on to the next trade show. We also have to capitalize on what we are able to offer. I mean, other than the diving experience, I've spoken to the acting, I forget his title sometimes, acting director, acting station manager, but you know, we have our own influencer, if you will call that individual. I mean, he came in wanting to invest in diving operations, and he has a YouTube channel with some followers. Why aren't we taking this individual out, or why aren't we promoting some of his stuff more to the people that he's already reaching? That's one thing that we can offer. Right? We have several hiking opportunities, several recreational activities that we haven't tapped into yet, and maybe working with SBDC to entice our people to venture into wanting to maybe open up a tour package that they can take these tourists onto these hiking places or these hidden gems. We also have our Tossi to Table, right, at RHI, where students are learning how to fish and the responsible way of fishing. And I know several of them that are out there spearfishing and selling their fish. And so maybe we can offer them an opportunity to take some of these tourists on that experience. You know, so there's so many things that we can offer that hasn't been tapped into yet. And I hope that with your representation there in the MBA board, that you can truly gather all this information and bring it up there for them to include as part of the package when going out to promote our islands. Mr. Maritita, with all that I've said, before I ask any questions, is there anything that you'd like to maybe comment on or provide answers for that?
Sure. Sure. If I may,
I've shared.
if I may,
Sure.
yeah. So yeah, earlier you were talking about the brochure. That quite frankly, I just saw that brochure in the mayor's office. I mean, the mayor's conference. So, anyways, I am not sure if that's specifically for Rhoda because I actually wrote Antinian. So I think that's something that maybe I can look into and maybe perhaps segregate the. I'm not saying that we're separated, but it's just that if it's a brochure just for Rhoda, so it's specifically just for Rhoda, and brochure for Saipan or brochure for Northern Islands or Tinian. I mean, I think that's basically we'll address that lack, for having that brochure specifically just for the island. I'm sure that it's one CNMI, and we can compile all those brochures and lay down on the table, and we all promote them as they were, as it is right now. I mean, and of course, looking into other developments, of course, those are things that maybe perhaps we can go along with the pamphlet or the brochure. Any projected projects that take place and stuff like that, something that, specifically related to tourism or enhancement program as such. So yeah, but Mayor's office, I tip my hats off to Rhoda Public Information Office. I'm not sure if you've seen the website that they have already created, or I think it's launched already. So that's something, I mean, you speak of culture, you speak of everything, our activities, and all the annual events that we have, it's all there. So that's something I think I can maybe get a conversation with the OIT with MVA so that they can tag that, or perhaps maybe somewhere in the specific website, MVA website, then maybe we can place a tag, hashtag or something that people can also click on it and they will take them to the Rhoda Mayor's office. And that's an amazing piece of work. I mean, I've seen it, and it entails everything that the municipality has to offer. So not to be redundant, but it's another platform that we can showcase out there. And I invite also, I've seen a lot of videos that previous visitors that had came and experienced Rhoda had been launched out there in YouTube, and so those are amazing. So those are the things that perhaps maybe we can get those, and of course we have to get consent from the owners of the videos, and then perhaps we can dump it in the Rhoda Mayor's Office website and MBA website. So that's something also that we need to consider, really, just to really expose. Exposure is very important, and we educate our visitors out there that there's a destination that they're missing. They're missing out on a lot of things. So that's something that we can look into. Yes, the access to travel. I mean, we all know the fact that our airlines industry is slowly dying. Hopefully not really to that extent, but that is something that the lack of the frequency of the flights that perhaps maybe can impede the process of really getting people to and from. I'm sure that when I was working for TSA for the past 12 years, yeah, I mean 12 years with TSA, I noticed, and I've noticed tourists having the connecting flight, and that's really devastating for them when flights are canceled. So that's merely something that I'm not too sure how we're going to be able to intertwine connectivity of flight connections per se, but I think it was doable. It was working back then because with the flights coming in, we got several charter flights back in 06, 07, and those were the amazing days when we have tourists. So and then the program slowly deteriorated. Now I'm not too sure for what reason, but it could be, of course, everything has to work with money. I mean, budget. So essentially, it broke down to pieces, and now we have an airline that serves us. Maybe I can say this. It's in the airline industry that's operating within the CMI. So looking into other airlines, perhaps maybe that's something that maybe we can come together as board members and stakeholders and see what we can do to help in that situation. Because I mean, obviously that's the main problem about access to the commuting or the traveling public. The traveling public is more especially like to me is the not so. I mean, yes, it is for tourism, but more so for medical reasons, for medical treatment. So that's essentially, that's why it's important that we need come together as an agency, and as well as the legislature, executive branch, and we all come together and see what kind of option can we explore, what kind of solutions that we can come forth. Um, you mentioned also something about capitalizing on, like other activities that we can offer on our island. It could be not just on our island, but if we identify that Tinian has the best hiking spot, then let's probably look into that and maybe promote that and maybe infuse more money into it and see what kind of enhancement that we can do to bring more tourists to there. So that's just an example. So recently I submitted with, I think a couple months back, I submitted a proposal for the congressional earmarking funds under Congressman Kleely's office for the wedding cake nature track. So that's one project also that I have not seen or heard of any notification if it was awarded or something, but that's something that I can, if we don't just stop there, but it's something that has been already submitted, we can take it, tweak it, put a little more into it, put more work into it, and then we submit it. And we can explore so many other granting agencies, other grantors that maybe perhaps can correlate with this kind of activity. So that is something also that I really want to pursue and see if we can be able to provide that access to the wedding cake. More specifically though, to the grotto. I mean, Saipan has grotto. I mean, if we make known that Rhoda has a grotto too, I mean, that's something that maybe people will like, hey, I want to go check it out. How do I get there? It's an hour and 45-minute hike. So how are we going to do that? Clear the pathways. So we're trying to expand pathways, see how environmentally effective the project will be. And that's the thing that we need to look into. Is so those permitting agencies, these are the blockages. That these are not necessarily because they don't see the project, but in the bigger picture, it's because of environmental impact. So that's one thing also that we need to really focus on and really attend, or focus our energy in, so that we don't impact our oceans. So yeah, and there's many more that we can think about. It's like hiking. We can identify public lands here in the area in Rhoda. I mean, I believe maybe I remember one a friend of mine, a good friend of mine back then. They used to. I'm not sure if it's still there. They still do it in Guam. It's called geocaching. Site, that perhaps they can geocache it and they can hike over there. So that's something that we can bring forth also as part of the hiking activity. And I'm sure there's other recreational that we can perhaps come about. And I'm sure Senator will be making a whole bunch of lists. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Martita. It's funny you mentioned geocaching because I saw there was one item somewhere in I think it was Tagastone that somebody left, and so it's been going on. But thank you for bringing it up. You addressed a lot of the concerns that I brought up, but that's something that also proves my point that, with the mayor's office working on this website when really it should have probably been MVA that focuses on this. But because I don't know where the vision was at the time or currently in terms of how much we can bring in from Guam. I mean, our neighboring island of Guam, where there's many military families that want to get away, and we're not capturing them here. Instead, they're going off to Philippines or Japan. But when you, like you said, you brought up flights, and flight, I think, has to be one of the major concern of MVA. I mean, look at this CBP issue that we're seeing right now.
Absolutely.
What is MVA doing about it? I mean, they should be concerned enough to where if we lose this Guam Rota segment, we're cutting that off to a lot of the tourists that can be coming in, as well as people coming this way and trying to go to Guam. And that's why the mayor's office, with some support from MBA, has been working closely with GVB and with their assistance to try to promote Rota as an extended place to visit for tourists that have already gone through the experience on Guam and also look further into the northern parts of the Marianas. We've been in discussion with several entities that are wanting to start inter-island travel. At this time, I don't want to disclose any information, but there are opportunities there. You may see them really soon. I just don't want to affect any progress that they've made and cause any disruption to the progress that they've made and the process that they're going through right now. But that is something that hopefully we'll realize soon. And so once that happens, I hope that the MBA can maintain that relationship with them. And so those are some of the things that I wanted to bring up. And it's fortunate that you, with your experiences throughout the different sectors of our entities here in Rota, public, private, federal, you being that representation at MVA can really bring a lot of these issues forward and address it with the rest of the board members. Other than that, it is such a fortunate thing that you're working at OGM and you can use that path to also getting a lot of federal funding that can support some of the needs here in Rota that could potentially make us more marketable to the foreign visitors. And so thank you for the work that you're doing there. I think you are, like the vice chairman mentioned, you're perfect for this opportunity, for this position, I feel. And that I appreciate the constant communication that you provided to my office and continue to working together to of course do what we can to better the lives of our people here, but also to make Rota known and just put ourselves out there on the map, on the global map. And I hope that you built this relationship with Mr. Atterley so that he can express a lot of the challenges that he's facing and a lot of the the concerns that he may have that you can bring over to Saipan. I mean, where you're going to get somebody who came from Hawaii and understanding the tourism industry there in Hawaii and sharing that with us here and seeing how that can work, that's a perfect match, if I may say. And so I hope that with your partnership with our MV office here, we can move a lot of things forward.
Definitely.
And I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up the fact that maybe consider transferring or merging some of the responsibilities of our MBA office here to like maybe Parks and Recs, or just because we hope that MBA can focus more on the marketing aspect of promoting our islands and get some assistance with the Parks and Recs to maintain our tourist sites as well, but also giving them the resources they need to help move that forward. And so that is all I have for now, Mr. Maritita. Thank you for sharing your opinions on all the points that I brought up. I appreciate your input and again your commitment to wanting to serve on this board that essentially is the main entity that the whole Commonwealth is relying on right now, right? And that is to boost tourism and bring in tourists, and hopefully that'll in turn create for a more vibrant economy. And so I wish you the best of luck if confirmed. And please again continue to reach out if you need any support in your new role as a board member. Thank you. I yield at this time.
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you, Vice Chair. I want to state that Senator Jude had to log off because he had another commitment at 4:30, and he expresses his apologies to you and to the Rota constituents. At this time, I will recognize Senator Paul Manglonia.
Thank you, Chair. First, I just want to say that I'm grateful that the nominee is here before us today because he actually has a trip, I understand, to the Philippines with the Director of Grants Management, but he's telling us, showing us that this is such an important hearing and he's here before us. I only wish I had known so I could go with Epi and but thank you, Dwayne. Really appreciate your taking on this challenge to represent the island of Rota at Marianas Visitors Bureau. No, pues, I guess following up on the comments by Senator Dono, we're very fortunate because at NVA you're also while representing Rota at NVA, you're still with the grants office. And I want to follow that line of thinking because you know that last year, I wonder if you're aware, last year the study on Rota Special Resource was completed. This study, and I quote this article, evaluated a variety of opportunities for preserving and interpreting the unique natural resources on the island of Rota. So I guess they evaluated the prehistoric, historic limestone forest sites on Rota, and they actually determined that there is some national significance of these sites. However, there's still some criteria that we need to meet, and so they're recommending. The study recommends that Rota go after grants, and some of these grants they recommend are the Land and Water Conservation Fund, the Office of Insular Affairs, the Historic Preservation Fund, World Heritage Site, National Heritage Area, or MPS affiliated area designation. I'm just saying that this is actually a study that we should carry forward. No, I don't know if you know, but this started since former Senator Diego Songao was a member of the delegation, and he actually pushed for this, and that's why Congressman Kilili pursued this study. And so while we do not actually fall under the national parks system because of some criteria that we still need to meet, they encourage us to go after these grants, and you're the perfect person, right, to go after these grants. And so I encourage you to please look into this. As a matter of fact, around this same time, Senator Songao actually submitted a package to the 702 office to include the, you mentioned earlier, the wedding cake trail, no? So we actually got approved for that grant. I don't know if you're aware, Director, that we actually got about $1.2 million for that project under 702. So if you want to look further into that application, I'm sure the 702 office should have it on Saipan. But you're right, the grotto, the trail to the top, it's another, 3-4 hours for the tourists to do while on Rota. And also, please look into this study and pursue this. I think you're the perfect person to pursue this vision by Senator Songao. No, I want to point out that on Rota we are fortunate because last year they established also the Rota Chamber of Commerce. So I ask that you work and communicate with the Chamber of Commerce, I guess being headed today by Steve McCoy. And I say this because a lot of times in the delegation, we talk about what does Rota need as far as tourism, airline issues, business, small business assistance. We try to be expert, but actually the experts are the Chamber of Commerce. On Saipan, the Chamber of Commerce, Hamni there, and the Hotel Association, they work with the delegation, and that's why when they have funding, they tend to appropriate available funds to programs that are recommended by this body. So I just hope that the Rota Chamber of Commerce follows the same model also. They, and can and assist us. But I already see that happening with CPA. They have been meeting, for example, with the Commonwealth Ports Authority to discuss shipping, stevedoring, and the harbor facility down there. So I think that I think it would be good if you can work with the Chamber of Commerce, also. On the airline issue, my disappointment with MVA last year was when CBP, the availability of the CBP official on Rota arises because they changed the policy so that now we have to be bringing the CBP official to Rota every day, Monday through Friday, and sometimes Sunday, Saturday, Sunday. This is not an issue for MVA in a sense, but it kind of falls under the responsibility, because if we don't have CBP official, then the airlines don't come, and Rota and Guam travelers suffer. So we're working, the delegation, we're working, we met 2 days ago with the port director, Mr. Malari, and with CPA Executive Director, Leo Tudela. We had a good conversation, but we're going to continue the discussion next week on Wednesday. We're going to be meeting with them, and this time we include Star Marianas. And yes, CPA Executive Director, I think somebody told me, came out in the paper today saying that the contract was between CBP and the airline, but while stating that, he's also helping, trying to help. So yeah, it's not under your direct responsibility, but that's why we have the airport, and that's why we have the management team there to assist, right, and provide safe and efficient and the frequency as far as airline seats are available. So MVA, I wrote a letter to MVA about last year regarding this situation, and they kind of like just, I guess because of funding issue, but this is what you're going to find out. You're going to find out that the challenges for Rota are different from the challenges for Saipan. Rota and Tinian has different challenges. And so you always have to keep that in mind, and you always have to kind of remind them that, even though we are a small fraction of the tourist numbers, but nonetheless, we have to address transportation and promotion to Rota. And speaking of promotion, Rota Resort, as I think I mentioned earlier, the submission of the bidding requirements was last week, but I think they're either opening the bid or extending it for another 60 days to get more bids. And so that should be opening soon, and that would present a wonderful opportunity for our island and our residents if we actually get that open. And so that would be something that we would need to work with you, Director. And I know we wanna be good partners to the new developers. We wanna see that they are given the permits and they have a smooth transition in renovating and opening back the resort. So I think there's no better person for MVA now than you, with the background and your position at the Federal Grand Office, and we're looking forward to working with you, Director. So I know it's a long day. I'm just going to ask you, because you mentioned some good projects, and I know we talk a little bit at the Asmadmus ribbon cutting. Can you talk about is there a plan for Ponya Point or other sites
Oh, yes,
other than
yes.
the wedding cake?
Well,
Can you please elaborate
Yes,
more?
thank you for that question. Uh, Most recently, I think we were able to get clearance from the U.S. Army Corps of Engineer for the Ponya Point project, which is similarly the same thing that's going to take place, the one that took place at Las Manmos, same pavilion style and same everything, so design. It took a very long process, per se, just due to the fact that there's a discovery of an endangered species. And this grant funding was approved under, and it's lucky you mentioned the Land and Water Conservation Fund, which is actually created this CORP, which is the statewide comprehensive outdoor recreation plan that was developed by OPD, OGM, and several other agencies. So this basically is a doctrine or a framework that's going to assist the entire cinema in seeking grant opportunities in furtherance of developing our recreational sites, improving or rehabilitation, creating new infrastructures and stuff like that. So going back to the Ponya, an endangered species was discovered, and I think this was approved already since a couple of years. If I'm not mistaken, I stand corrected, but I think it's somewhere in the year 2021, I believe, 2021 or 2022. But the discovery had impeded the process because it needed to be addressed. The specific endangered species is the Nisogenous rutensis, which is an endemic to Rhoda, and it can only be found in Rhoda. And that's something that I believe that if protected, I think we can invite researchers over here, specifically for that reason, just to do research more on those. There's a lot of negative, why can't we just go and stomp on it and remove it? That's essentially not a practical way to doing things, no? I mean, we'll also have to adhere to federal policies, and we have federal agencies that are governing all these policies. And we have to be mindful that where we're getting our funds, the federal funds. So absolutely, but I'm proud to announce that, that we're moving forward with the project, and we're hoping to get a pre-bid conference scheduled anytime during the fiesta, anytime for the Visita Luta, October 9 to the 12th. I'm not too, that's still tentative, but we're really working on it to getting multiple stuff.
Also,
multiple
they're
things.
gonna rebid it?
Yes, that's the awarded contractor had forfeited, or rather had a, how should I say this? I think he wasn't able to fulfill so he withdrew from the project. The contractor or the awarded individual or the company or contractor withdrew from so therefore a rebid process has to take place. And we're looking forward to, inviting contractors and companies to come forth and sit in the pre-bid conference so that they can be well aware of the project scope.
I just wanna, this morning at the career day at the former Rhoda High School, I was talking to NMC, and they're also excited about the reopening of Rhoda Resort. They have a plan to assist companies or organizations in their meetings on Rhoda. So they're trying to promote company meetings or organization meetings on Rhoda, and they will provide the workshop for the leadership program or whatever, discussion that they would have. So I just want you to know so that maybe you can also reach out to NMC, because the President, Galvin Guerrero, in our meeting on Saipan with the NMC, kind of mentioned that also. And so that's something that I think that we can all benefit if you reach out to NMC. I just want to point that out. And I'm going to just end by saying there's no need to discuss further about the importance of connecting Rota to Guam. No? Even if we can restore the inner island service with regular and more frequent flights, we know that, as I always mention, there are golf clubs on Guam, junior high, senior high, military, church group, mayor's office, all the villages. You see, there's just so many that we don't need, even if we don't go to Korea or Japan, we have those local travelers just coming here. So at MVA, maybe we need to revisit again, as we were provided in the past, one FTE on Guam, or not necessarily only to handle Rota tourists, but or Rota tourism activities, but even Saipan. But I think we could start out small and just focus on promoting Rota from Guam. So that's something that maybe in the budget you can request to see if we can put one person on Guam, just go every day to golf clubs, high school, churches, mayor's office, Boy Scout, Chamorro clubs, and start sending. It's only nine people to fill up a plane, no? So I think that we can get those visitors from Guam, military personnel every week. So it's just a matter of bringing this up regularly to the MVA on Saipan, no? So, beena gano thank you talo na on acceptes na
Thank you, sir.
obligasyon
Thank you,
sa
sir.
nonga este ko malinilumo gitsumolo. You have to add this other one, no? Thank you, no?
Thank you. Thank you, Senator.
Thank you, Senator Paul. I'll try not to be as long. But it is important that we ask and we share these concerns and share our dialogue with nominees that we vet, just to gauge your understanding of the issues that face the board that you are nominated for. My first question is kind of complex, and we often get a variety of answers depending on who we ask. So one of the main issues facing our Commonwealth is our economy. Everybody talks about it every day, every week. Like Guam is heavily dependent on tourism, but Guam has another industry that can help soften economic blows, which is the military. They contribute a lot in terms of cover over taxes. The tourism industry is very fickle and volatile. Look at what happened in COVID. It sent our tourism into, industry into a screeching halt. Anything as delicate as that, or the breakout of a war, which is very real. Breakout of a war in our region could definitely affect it and halt recreational travel, at least. So using your vast experiences, I've been looking over your resume, using your vast experience, what are your 3 priorities? Knowing the challenges that MBA is facing now, what is your priority? How do you hope to resolve it?
Okay, so thank you for that question, Senator Babauta. So in general perspective for the entire city or Rhoda?
Generally speaking.
Okay. So everybody,
And
all
you
the
can
islands
go
have
into
their
detail
unique.
into the different islands.
All the islands have their unique hardships, right? So I think we were to generalize that. I think one of the biggest issue I know, you mentioned about the economic. It's still in existence, economic hardship. One way that one issue that perhaps maybe we can look into is really the ports. It's really just getting to build our ports a little bit more and enhance our ports to be able ferries for that matter. I mean, we're for distance, we're not separated at a vast open water. So technically, specifically for Guam. So the military buildup essentially is really gonna as, assist the cinema in terms of the domestic inter-island tourism. Uh, there's several plans already that I haven't on my mind, and probably, but the paramount issue is the airline, as we discussed earlier. So the airline is essentially an important industry to be always the public to travel and commerce too. So it's basically just getting together with all agencies, stakeholders, and I do believe that it is very important that, of course, Commonwealth Ports Authority should be in this picture as the driving entity for the access to our islands. I can look into series of grants. No, I think that's something that I am very well versed with, and something that I can read on. Like I said, there's not so many out there that probably can provide a subsidy, but a subsidy program is one of the most. I think it's going to work if we are able to subsidize airline industries or passenger rates, for that matter. If we can be able to come up with that, I would really strongly believe that the rates, airfare will go down. So that is something that we have looked into previous years before, that we have submitted under the U.S. Department of Interior, the Office of Insular Affairs. We have attempted several times, I think, a couple of times maybe. But we did submit subsidy programs to be able to afford the airline industry that opportunity, or the traveling public the opportunity to travel at a very reasonable price. So simply, I mean, that it doesn't stop there. Like I said, there's still many options out there, so we can still, if we need to go back to the drawing board, retweak the application or the proposal and put a little more teeth in it, and make it more enticing for all, or for OIA to consider. And then it's something that we can, and just pondering into the hardship, rather, just focusing more so about the hardship that all the islands are experiencing right now. So basically, that's one thing that a solution that maybe we can perhaps dive into is really just subsidy programs. I understand that there's not a lot of money, at hand right now with the government, with because of our revenue stream. It's all, at one point in time, yes, we did experience a pandemic, typhoons, and stuff like that. We were fortunate enough to actually get some money out of those. But do we really want to have another pandemic just to get money? So that's something that, maybe or another typhoon, a huge typhoon, that they're going to destroy the islands. So we haven't recovered yet. So let's continue to pray that we don't get such disaster or calamity on our way. But absolutely, I really think that subsidy programs are one way to really achieve what we need to sell out to in order for us to continue, or rather slowly and gradually get to where we want to be.
Thank you for that detailed answer. And any one of us can spend days discussing this back and forth about the ports, about ferries, about airlines, and rate reduction and revenue generation. We are constantly being asked at the legislature to come up with revenue generating bills. And, revenue bills are bills that concern raising revenues through an increase of taxes when you're talking about government revenues. Or it usually comes in the form of a spending bill that implements a new tax or amends a current tax rate to increase it. So that is revenue generating bills, but it's not a popular topic for the people because they claim suffering, and we get that. So we're left, our backs into a corner. We have current legislation that I think will pass next week in the House to create a new industry for the CNMI. So I'm hoping that will be passed. I will be pushing for the passage of that, and it's called a captive insurance, if you care to look into it. Ports, I want to assure people that the military is helping with that. Governor Palacios is laying the foundation along with the legislature. They're laying the foundation to expand the ports throughout the CNMI. It's already, I think, near completion, if not completed. Rhoda will be next, I believe. I believe this month or last month, Rhoda Airport alone will receive in the near future approximately $10 million to upgrade some infrastructure there. Ferries, we only got our federal highway designation in 2022. And so the request for proposal just went out in April of this year to solicit a feasibility study for a ferry inter-island. That was the first step, was we needed to get federal highway designation between the islands. And it also, fortunately, includes Guam in that designation. It is an $800,000 grant that was awarded to CODA, Commonwealth Office of Transportation Authority. So they're going to do the feasibility study for that for cargo, not passenger ferries. Airlines, I love this because we see so many issues. Previously when we received our ARPA funds, MVA was given, I don't even know what the total is at this point, but they created a TRIP program, TRIP, to Korea, and they were subsidizing the airlines, and passengers from Korea, directly from Korea. And they were paying up to, if I'm not mistaken, up to $500 per passenger and 45,000 per flight. 45,000 per flight. Even if the airline, so we were subsidizing these airlines, foreign airliners, even if their load factor was only 5%, 10%, we paid for the remainder of those vacant seats. And that program cost the CNMI $5 million at least. And then, of course, we had the Pagan COVID party in Pagan. I'm sure you guys are all familiar with it. And I've heard MVA say tourism is everybody's business. And I have a plan to write to major airlines to invite them to come and establish routes directly to Asia. And I've been asking for data. We cannot continue this. The definition of insanity is doing things over and over and expecting a different outcome. I'm asking for data. How many flights come in per week? By who? Which airlines? Are they foreign? Are they US? What is their seat capacity? What is their load capacity? And where are these flights coming from? And the frequency of these flights. MVA doesn't know it. I've asked, CPA I've asked, they gave me flight schedules. That is not the data I'm asking for. And I need this information in order to invite other airlines, because they will not come out here on a junket just to find out for themselves that it's not feasible. We need to provide them data so they can analyze it and see if it is worth their trip to come out here. And along with inviting major US or foreign airlines, I also want them to increase seat capacity inter-island, because this monopoly just is not gonna last us much longer. Those are some of the things I have concerns with. And there are others that we are working on. You mentioned about hiking. I wanna let you know that at the University of Guam bookstore, there's a hiking guidebook for all of Guam. They have identified places that tourists may be interested in, whether it's a easy hike, a moderate hike, or a difficult hike. It's labeled that way. It would be good to have that type of information and inventory, if you would, here for the Marianas, all 3 islands. There are also other ways, and one of the things that I was asking MBA managing director is that they constantly go on these off-island trips to promote and do trade shows. And marketing the cinema is about not only going to exotic places, travel performed by MBA staff and board members, to do a trade show without getting feedback on the data. This is insanity. We cannot continue to have MBA travel to Australia, to Bali, do a trade show, come back and not follow up with data. One of the issues also, and this is Senator Donald's favorite, is at hotels in the CNMI. You see, you see the entertainment being performed at hotels. It is Polynesian entertainment, not local culture. So what are we selling? We're not selling our culture. We're not marketing, I'm sorry. We're not marketing our culture so that people may be interested to come back. So these are things I hope that you look into should the Senate confirm your nomination. We are always available to talk offline. I don't want to drag this hearing any longer. It's been a long day for everybody here, but also based on your answers, I think you will serve the interests of Rhoda and the CNMI well on the MBA board, and I do not have any problems recommending the confirmation. But I hope, given that assurance from myself as chair to advocate for your confirmation, I hope that you are transparent with the legislature, because we cannot continue operating in silos. You
Absolutely.
need our help, we need yours.
Absolutely.
We
Yes.
cannot do it by ourselves. We are, the legislature can only go so far, because that is not our mandate to promote, but we are helping any way we can with the advocacy of both your Rhoda senators here. I also want to add, Senator Paul has been the longest serving lawmaker in our legislature. Zamalabi na tungo, tahaza ni nunca beses ni hungo, na ni hungo si Senator Paul karabirara, pareho din Senator Donald. Karabirara zahafa luta, mungi I probetsu. So you have 2 very, very good representatives here advocating for the island of Rhoda, and I thank them for their assistance also in pushing an agenda to get us out of this economic slump. That's all I have for today. Are there any other
Thank you,
comments?
Senator.
I'll
Thank you.
recognize Senator Donald for the final
Sorry,
round.
just closing, I know we're coming up close to an event that's going to happen right after this. And so I just wanted to bring up just a few closing thoughts. For one, I know Senator Babauta, the chair, mentioned about the Polynesian dances. I don't know. I mean, fortunately, one of our LA's son was here over the Coconut Festival, and they did a performance that is new to a lot of our people, right? The Carlinian, the Rafalawash traditions, and that's not something that I grew up with, or a lot of our people grew up with. So that was a way to introduce that culture, that side of our other culture to the people here in Rota. One thing I also wanted to bring up is, can you please, if confirmed, fight for a permanent position, a manager position within MBA? We've had an acting for the longest time. I know that Mr. Concepcion mentioned that they offered that position, but from what I'm understanding, they never really offered it. And so we've had an acting for the longest time. And so if you can champion that permanent position, so we can have somebody on the ground that can make that final decision when it comes to matters concerning Luta. But
Senator.
also, and I'm gonna request for this because there might be conflict with you and this person's relationship, but there's one individual there that has been in there for over 30 years, and we all know who that is. And, just looking at the salary, the pay scale, there's discrepancies there, inequities there. And so take a look at providing some type of incentive or reward for people who have contributed that long. 33 years is a long time, right? And so how do we value and incentivize our employees to stay longer? And so I'm making that request because of that conflict of interest. And lastly, I've worked with during the budget process, MBA was projecting 7.2. Secretary of Finance was saying, I'm comfortable with 5.2 or something to that effect. And so the conversation kind of stopped there. I don't think that conversation ever reached the governor. But if MBA gone to the governor and say, we are confident that MBA is going to bring in 7.2 in hotel occupancy tax, that'll mean more money to MBA. That'll mean more money for other promotional activities. And so, that 7.2 versus the 5.8 or somewhere along those lines, that is almost a difference of 1.3 additional that could have gone to MBA. And so I brought up that concern in trying to help MBA. I brought up that concern with Secretary of Finance so that both these agencies can communicate and be like, listen up, we've always projected this amount. We've always met our mark. What's the difference with what's going to happen next year? And so that's additional money that could go to MBA. That's additional money that could be used for other promotional activities here in Rota. So if you can champion that, if you're confirmed, hopefully there's a revised budget submission because the Senate adopted the construction tax that may realize additional revenue. And if that revised budget submission comes down to the legislature, hopefully they can consider those additional funds for MBA that you can use to further the initiatives and projects that MBA has planned. And so please try to champion that if confirmed. I brought it up and it fell on deaf ears. And so that's all I have for now. And again, I fully support your confirmation, and hopefully we can request the Senate President to also expedite the Senate session. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Donald Mangonia. Anything further? Senator Paul? At this time, we will dismiss you, Mr. Maritita. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And moving on to number 6 on the agenda, miscellaneous. Do the members have anything to state? If there are none, can I get a motion to adjourn today's hearing?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. A motion has been made and it has been seconded. Are there any objections? If not, hereby passes, and this meeting is hereby adjourned at 5:04 p.m. Thank you.